Welcome back. The UN's Fund for Gender Equality is ploughing over $7 million into 24 innovative programs across the globe to boost women empowerment. The high-impact programs designed by women-led civil society organizations have been selected to jumpstart the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals in 28 countries. For more on these now, I'm joined via Skype by Elisa Fernandez. She's head of the UN's Fund for Gender Equality. Elisa, good morning and thank you for your time. Firstly, give us some idea of what these projects are and how they're going to help you meet those goals.
Yes, these programs are dedicated to the empowerment, the economic and political empowerment of women worldwide. And basically, what we are understanding is that if we want to achieve sustainable development for around the world in 2030, as is the goal, we cannot achieve it if we don't take a serious look to gender equality. We cannot leave half of the population out of this international goal. So the Fund for Gender Equality is dedicated to the empowerment of women. We basically want to improve and to support initiatives around the world that are aiming to improve the political participation of women, the leadership, so they take a strong role in decision-making in all spheres of their life. In politics, in private sector, still today, only 20% of all parliamentarians around the world are women. And only 5% of CEOs in 500 Fortune companies are women. So we want to promote the empowerment of women at that level. We also want to support projects that are aiming to have a stronger role on the economic empowerment arena. So decent employment, equal pay, access for women to resources, to land, to credit, women's entrepreneurship. And this fund is also dedicated to tackle and to target the most marginalized women around the world. So we're funding projects that are addressing the needs of rural women, migrant workers, indigenous women, Afro-descendant women around the world.
Yeah, and obviously, that was my next question, is about at grassroots level, what are you doing? Specifically, what are you doing in those areas? What are you actually doing with those women?
With the women? So basically, we support, through a competitive process, we support the organizations that are doing the work on the ground. And that's the whole point of the localization of the Sustainable Development Goals. For example, in the political sphere, these programs will support electoral process so that women can be supported as candidates, so they can run elections and they can win and they can play meaningful roles in their communities. And rural level, for example, we will support projects that are addressing the business skills of women, accessing to land, for example, land rights. So different areas so that are specific interventions so that are promoting that the women can participate actively. Mm-hmm.
All right, Elisa, and you're going to be starting these projects in January next year. How does the selection process work? How do you decide who gets to benefit from this money and your help?
Yeah, so the way that we do it is a very rigorous competitive process around the world. There's a high demand for resources. Just to give you an idea, we received 1,400 applications around the world, and we were able to give resources to 50 programs. We're selecting 50 and giving funding for 24 and fundraising for other 26 projects. So basically we set criteria. We're looking from formal criteria, formal registration that are solid organizations, well established, but also the technical criteria, do they do a proper gender analysis of their context? Are they really understanding the needs in the context where they're working? Are they proposing a sound proposal? So we go through different stages. Through an independent process, we hire technical experts, regional technical experts around the world. And through a process that takes 9 months, we will go through different stages that will go for the 1,400 up to the 50 that we dedicated as finalists.
Just looking specifically at countries in Africa, and I see you've got countries like Kenya and Nigeria, Elisa, and we know about how women are or what their hardships are. If we look at the Boko Haram issue, if we look at the girls who've been missing for over a year now, just what kind of support do you get from governments? What are your challenges when dealing with governments in those countries?
So basically, this fund is dedicated to support civil society, and it's a value of governance. So basically, what we do is we support civil society to work with governments, in partnership with governments, so that we're building the voices of civil society and the women's movement and the women's rights, so that they can advocate for issues. And for example, one area of the work that we support is advocating for greater legislation, for greater policies. And so basically we're supporting the actors on the ground, because we support civil society at the country level so they can have a voice and a participation and better influence, and also to increase awareness of the situation of women on the ground in these countries.
All right, well, good luck to you. Thank you very much, Elisa Fernandez, head of the UN's Fund for Gender Equality.